Susan Buffett was a friend of this program and a friend of mine. She died of a stroke on July 29, 2004, while vacationing with her husband at the ranch of their friend Herbert Allen in Cody, Wyoming. She was 72 years old. I got to know her through my friendship with Warren. He is, as many of you know, one of the world's greatest investors, and as a result, one of the world's richest men. And of those who know him, one of the funniest and most interesting people anywhere. Susie had the same spirit. Plus, she could sing. In May of this year, almost 3 months before her death, she sat down with me for her only television interview in her life. It was to be part of a larger profile I'm making about Warren. This interview was to be about Warren, but it is every bit as much about Susie. Watch it and you will see why he said to me, I couldn't have done this without her. She and Warren were separated and lived in different cities, but they were magical when together and talked on the phone constantly. He was at her side during her struggle with cancer and also at her death. Susan Buffett was a director of Berkshire Hathaway, the second largest stockholder. She was president of the Buffett Foundation, and she was a wonderful mother for her 3 children, Howard, Peter, and Susie. I am enormously proud that Susie joined me for this conversation. I hope it shows why her life was so special and her death such a profound loss for Warren and her children. It is our tribute to her life and her spirit. You grew up in Omaha.
Yes.
Susie Thompson.
Right.
Father was...
He was a psychology professor at the university. He was and dean there. And he also preached out in a little country church on Sunday, way out in the country, little white church in the Vale type thing. And we had to walk through a whole mountain of lilies of the valleys to get to the outhouse. And all the people there were farmers. I loved it.
But the Buffett family knew the Thompson family.
Oh, my, yes. They were like this. The parents. Yeah. The children didn't know each other because Warren and his sisters lived in Washington from the time we were 13.
His father was a congressman.
Right.
Yeah. So when you first met him...
I first met him. I was going to be his youngest sister's roommate at Northwestern.
Right.
So I walked into their house, and he was sitting in this chair in the living room, and he made some sarcastic quip. I hadn't even met him. So I made one back. I thought, who is this jerk? And that's how we met, yes. Mm-hmm.
Here is the story. He chased you, and you were dating other people. Mm-hmm. He would come over to the house.
Mm-hmm, right. Here, my dad...
And sit with your father.
Yeah.
And you were going off on a date.
Right. My dad fell in love with him. Listen, Warren is smarter than you even know. My dad had a mandolin up in the attic. Warren said, Doc, get out your mandolin and I'll play with you with my ukulele. So they played together. And my father fell in love with Warren. And he kept saying to me, you don't understand this boy. He has a heart of gold. No pun intended. And that's what went on
for
quite a while. You know, I mean, but doesn't Warren always get what he wants?
So you finally gave up on the other guy.
Oh, yeah.
And started dating him.
Yeah, yeah. And the one thing is he makes you laugh all the time. He's so fun. And he also, at that time, he took me dancing a lot.
Warren could dance.
He could dance, and we had a lot of fun going dancing. I think he probably can still dance, but I wouldn't know. And so we had fun dancing, which never happened after we got married, which is a sad tale that many wives have probably have.
Because the men are married to their work, not their wives.
Well, yeah, they think I've got her now, so I don't have to go dancing anymore.
According to him, to me, he would not have made it without you. You gave him something.
Well, I feel really good about that, Charlie, because whoever you are in this life, you don't want to think you wasted a lot of your energy and love and time on something useless. Warren is phenomenal. And I felt that the best thing I could give him was unconditional love. And I have. And he says, you're like a little watering can, you know, and I'm the flower. and how could you not feel good about that?
He made you feel needed.
Mm-hmm, very much so.
And you knew he loved you.
Oh! I don't know that anyone's ever been more loved. But, yeah, and you know, I must have, maybe I should have been a social worker because just in the sense that it fits me. It fits me to be needed and to know that what I have to give is the right thing. And if you have two people, we just have a lot of love and respect for each other, and that's never changed.
You always knew you'd be successful.
Well, I didn't care about that.
Didn't care?
No, I mean, he would go around saying, I'm going to be the richest man. I thought, oh, okay, you can think.
He would tell you, I'm going to be the richest man
in the world.
In the world.
And I think, well, it's like somebody says I play music and I'm going to be Mozart. I don't know. How does anyone know? How does anyone know? You know? So that was okay. I don't really care about that. I always thought I'd marry a minister or a doctor or somebody out doing some valuable service to human beings. And the fact that I married somebody who makes just piles of money is really the antithesis of what I ever thought. But I know what he is, and he is, there's no finer human being than who he is. So I overlooked the money.
But why does he say, look, you got to talk to Susie. This would not have been possible without her.
Well, isn't it interesting that he does that all the time with me and with, it's very flattering. I think I know what he means. When I knew him in the beginning, he was sort of a genius. I think sometimes geniuses are by default lonely and isolated.
He said that.
Mm-hmm. And I think that he was, and he was not really well adjusted. He was just this funny, humorous guy who maybe had a moat around him because he was afraid and he didn't know anyone that he wanted to let in. And to this day, Charlie, I don't know, well, nobody knows him like I do, and probably any wife would say that. But
why do you think you didn't let people in?
That's a good question. I think he was just afraid. He was afraid to trust people. And he's so cerebral, you see. He's so cerebral. My dad, the psychologist, said to me, now you have to understand about him, you're not going to have discussions with him like you would most normal people. He's not going to talk about other people or small things, or there'll be a lot of things he won't talk about because he's thinking big thoughts up here. So when he's ready to talk about those, then he'll have a conversation. Ask his kids. Susie, our daughter who's here, said to me, Mom, I knew when I talked to Daddy I had to hurry up because pretty soon I'd lose him. Meaning he can only stay down here mentally for so long, and then something goes on up here and...
He's thinking big thoughts.
Yeah, he is.
How has he changed with all this success, all this money, all this fame, all these books written about him? And how has he stayed the same? I
think he has changed as little as anyone possibly could under the circumstances.
Really? There's nothing about him that is pompous or...
Oh, no. Oh, my heavens, no. I'm lucky if I get him to comb his hair and I can whisk him off, you know. No, not at all. I think a lot of it, to me, the crux of it is that it wasn't the money itself. You can see that in the way he lives. I mean, he doesn't buy huge paintings or build big houses or anything like that. It's all mental with him. And the money is his scorecard. And he used to say to me, what I love about this is I start out, well, I think he read Moody's 100 times the first year we were born. Security analysis, he certainly did. So, and my dad always had his head in the book, so I was used to that. I was trained to be married to Warren. But I think that it isn't, because the money isn't the thing. As I say, it's a scorecard. So he doesn't need to change anything. He just wants, he said, everybody can read what I read. Everybody, it's a level playing field. And he loves that because he's competitive. And he's sitting there all by himself in his office reading these things that everybody else can read. But he loves the idea that he's going to win.
But he's never wanted to spend a lot of money.
No.
To buy a lot of things.
No. Simply because what I said is a scorecard.
How hard a worker is he?
His brain is going all the time. But an unusual thing about him is he can lie down and take a nap and go to sleep. Or he sleeps very well at night. He can turn it off. Which I think many high-powered people probably can't do.
It is said, though, that he worked so hard, and you had raised the kids, that at time you sort of felt like, what's there for me to do?
Oh, no. When the children were growing up, I was very involved in civil rights completely.
Right. You've always had a...
I was immersed in it.
Right.
And I think that's what made Warren a Democrat. I take the credit for that. Because both our parents were Republicans, and we are not. And he would go with me to hear speakers, you know, Jesse Jackson and the man who wrote Black Like Me, and Lewis, and he would go with me to hear, Al Lowenstein, we loved him. So without knowing it, step by step, I was infiltrating. And and he's very much, I find this a profound thing. I was talking to him one day about some racial issue, and he looked at me, and this Charlie would have been 40 years ago. And he said to me, wait till women discover they're the slaves of the world. Now, how many men were cognizant of that, and even women then? I was so impressed by that. And he's very, very pro-women. You know?
He's had good relationships with women.
Oh, yeah.
Kay Graham.
Yeah.
I mean, he invested in the Washington Post, but she leaned on him.
Oh, yeah. And,
and introduced him to Washington.
Oh, yeah. Kay was wonderful. And Carol Loomis.
Carol Loomis, who writes for Fortune magazine.
They talk all the time and exchange thoughts. And he has a lot of women friends.
Because he likes women.
He likes women, yeah. He does. Well, why wouldn't he?
Yeah. And you love the fact that he liked women.
Oh, yeah. My dad always said that women were the superior gender, and if women ruled the world, it would be a much better place. So I come from a father who loved women. And Warren feels that women all over the world get shortchanged. That's why he's so pro-choice, and he's for anything that helps women to be part of the level playing field.
But why did you move away from Omaha?
Me?
Yeah.
Because, I'll tell you, I am a person who likes a private life. That's why I'm here on your program, Charlie. I said to Warren, I don't like to, anyway.
You said to Warren what?
I don't like to talk about I just want to have my own life. I don't need to talk to somebody about it.
So what did he say?
He said, yeah, but Charlie will be good to you, and you like Charlie, and so here I am. I don't know. But Omaha, you see, I didn't realize this at the time. Well, I'll tell you the real thing of how it happened. I have been involved in the death and dying process of a lot of people, including relatives, but also friends with AIDS. It seems to be my stick. I don't know. I never would have guessed, but I'm comfortable with the transition that people are making, the process, and those moments. I'm very comfortable, and I think the person I'm with understands that. And so I had done an awful lot of that. My sister-in-law's little girl, it's just a lot of people. And I thought, I would like to have a place where I could have a room of my own. It would be nice. Because my problem, Charlie, is that I don't have superficial relationships. I have these dang blasted relationships with people that are like boing, and then it never runs. So I thought if I went to, I would have come to New York, but I have too many friends here that I dearly love. So I went to San Francisco. It's beautiful. I'm in a city, but I'm close to nature. I have 3 friends there from Omaha who know they never invite me to their dinner parties. They know I don't want to come, but we sit and have tea somewhere or something. It's perfect. And the first time Warren came out there, and I'm only there about 20% of the time, I say that I'm what is it I say I am? I move around all the time. But the minute we took a walk and he looked around, and he's not very visual. But
he's not very visual.
He's not visual at all. But
meaning he doesn't see the beauty or he's not
overwhelmed
by the outside because he's internal.
But that has its pluses. I could buy a horrible looking rug and he'd have his feet on it for 3 years and never know. So I realized there was a plus to that. But he was looking around and he said, this is your city, Susan. He could see, because I am so drawn to color and light and form and nature, that he thought it was a good place for me. Because you see, physical proximity to Warren doesn't always mean that he's there with you. I mean, there hasn't been any change in anything, because it took him a while to figure it out, but he figured it out. I said, I'm not leaving you, because I'll be wherever you want me when you want me. But most of the time, when you're in the same house he is or whatever, he's up reading, and that's why I learned to have my own life. We were 2 parallel lines, but very connected when he was open to connecting.
And are you responsible for Astrid?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, I'll tell you. I call her Aya. That's a term of endearment.
You call her what?
Aya.
Aya.
It's a term of endearment. When I was singing at the French Cafe in Omaha, Aya was the maitre d', or the woman that met you at the door, and she is a very helping, giving person. And between sets, she would always bring me tea, and we'd sit and talk, and we became very good friends. And Astrid is happiest when she is doing something for somebody else. She's just made that way. She's really a good soul. So then when I moved to San Francisco, I mean, it would have been all right for some other person, but Warren can't find the light switch, and it's probably my fault, but I don't take all the fault for that. And he'd call me up and say, Susan, where is the so-and-so? Or I can't find, and by looking, Can I tell you a funny story?
Please.
It will explain everything. Susie knows what story I'm going to tell you because it's our funny family story because it illustrates everything. One time, years ago, when the kids were little, I was feeling really sick. I had the flu, so I lay down on the bed and I said to Warren, will you get me a pan or something from the kitchen? I may not get to the bathroom. I feel so sick. He said, okay. So he trotted down to the kitchen, and I hear this bang, biff, boom, bang, like a 5-course meal was being fixed. And he comes up, and he puts down a colander.
That's not what you needed.
No, he brings me a colander, and I looked at it, and I said, look, honey, this has holes in it. See all the holes? Oh, okay. So he ran down, all this banging and everything. He comes up, and he puts the colander on a cookie sheet. Okay? I don't need to tell you much more, do I, Charlie?
No, you got it. This is a man.
So he needs help.
This is a man that needed help.
He needs help.
Yeah.
And so then I called Ostrid. I said, Ostrid, will you take one, make him some soup, go over there and look after him because he's not going to make it. I mean, he's different than a lot of guys, because we see each other all the time and we do things, but he just can't, he can't function. Right. Yeah.
So she went over and
stayed. And that was, she's done me a great favor, let me tell you.
She took care of your man for you.
She did. And she takes great care of him. And he appreciates it, and I appreciate it. She's a wonderful person.
When they go out to dinner and everything.
Yeah,
and
they just do.
He's a companion.
They do what they do, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go to most things in Omaha because I think Ostrid lives there with him, and that's for her to do. And then we do all kinds of things.
Yeah. Oh, when you travel with Bill Gates, or when you
with the grandchildren,
come to New York, or with the children, or the beach houses, or all that. Yeah.
So that's it.
Would you have changed anything about all this?
About all this?
Well, just
what?
the
My
way
life
has been.
My life?
Yeah. I mean, he says, I tap dance to work.
Yeah.
And he says, I paint with any colors I want to paint with. Yeah. You've heard him say this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
He does what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He does what he thinks he was put here to do.
Right.
He does what he thinks calls on his best abilities. Right. He has a way of keeping score. He has a way of influencing. It continues to get bigger and bigger. He's regarded as the best investor in the world.
Right.
That's what he always wanted to do.
Right.
He's got a wife that he loves, takes care of him, gave him self-esteem at a time and support when he needed it. Probably, he's right. He wouldn't have been able to do this. He might have been
He could have been really different, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes me very happy to know that I was an enabler for him, because I don't think anybody could be worth more enabling.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No.
I feel very, very good about it.
And when you were sick?
Oh, my. When I was sick, he came out 26 weekends in a row. And my daughter, who's here, took care of me in the most stunning way. The doctors wrote her notes and things. And my boys are wonderful, and it's too good to be true. It's kind of scary. And as I said to Warren, you know, when I got this thing, which I would like to explain to the audience at large, that I talk the way I do because I had cancer in my mouth, and it had to be removed, and things are different now. You know, I feel like my life has been, I've had a wonderful life, and when this happened to me, I said to Warren, look, I'm 71. It didn't happen to a child. It didn't happen to a grandchild. That to me, and it happens all the time to little people and big people and all kinds of people. I mean, age-wise. But to me it was appropriate, and I would have felt really so sad if it had been the other way around.
If it had been him.
Or if it, oh, well, sure.
Yeah.
But if it had been a child or grandchild,
right.
that's another thing. You know, I'm an old lady.
But you're looking great.
Thanks. I feel fine.
You got all this money.
Yeah.
I mean, you alone have got all this money.
That's what it says.
I know.
Down here it says
exactly.
that.
It's,
right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you, Susie,
Yeah.
have all these billions.
Pardon me while I laugh. Yes.
What does it mean for you?
Well, I'll tell you. I'm more interested in my inner self. To begin with, what matters to me is my spirit and how I live out what I value in a spiritual life in the world. That isn't, I do our foundation. That gives me great joy. And I love what we do. I love doing it. And up until now, and I hope so again, I've traveled all over the world. And, you know, I meet these inspiring people. Charlie, you meet doctors and just volunteers and all kinds of human beings who have made a choice in their life to serve others. They don't have some big practice on Park Avenue. They're out there in Vietnam. I mean, my respect for that, that's the greatest respect I have for anyone. Anyway, I got to meet people like that.
Yeah.
I love the foundation.
What criticism of Warren makes you the angriest?
Well, luckily he doesn't get much criticism.
No, that's true.
He doesn't really. There was an article in the Omaha World Herald the day of his meeting that I thought was rude and irrelevant and a lot of things. I was really mad at that.
I tell you what it said. It said that, you know, that for all of his success, that people like Gates, who created a company, somehow deserved a higher place in the pantheon of great business people.
Because they're entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And Warren is not an entrepreneur. Well, everybody knows that, but then it did say at the last sentence, he is the greatest investor of all time, or something like that.
Yeah.
That was very kind of them. But they were comparing apples and oranges to me, and they were making it sound bad that he wasn't an apple and he was an orange.
Yes.
So there too, you know.
Defend your man, huh?
Yeah, you're not kidding.
No?
That was pretty ridiculous if that's the only way they can be critical, is to say, too bad you're a lawyer instead of a doctor. I mean, that's the way I looked at it.
Yeah.
You know. If I'm wrong, tell me, Charlie.
Well, no, I think you're right. I mean, there is, but he recognizes that too.
Oh,
I mean, he would
sure.
say, sure, I mean, I didn't do this, I did that.
And it's so funny. I rarely get mad about anything.
But you got mad about this one.
I was mad. I thought it wasn't fair. I mean, yeah, I didn't think it was an intelligent article. I thought, anyway, it was rude. I didn't like it.
What do you think he wants his legacy to be?
I think he wants his letters to be a legacy about business. You know, his annual reports.
Right.
He's really written.
That's his book.
That's his book. That's his book. And I think he hopes that people remember how much he liked to talk about the ovarian lottery. He loves that. And I believe that so deeply, like he does. And if he can make young people realize, I'm lucky I was just born here, and then take it a step further, and what can I do for people that aren't so lucky, including people here, I know that means a lot to him.
And you and he know that because you've amassed all this money and because you're going to put it in the foundation, that good works will live after you.
Oh my, yes. Oh my, yes. That is a disagreement we have. I run the foundation now. I think we should be giving more money away. I'm going to keep giving more money away. There's no question. But I understand why we don't, because it's his business. You know, it's not like Bill Gates it's separated what he gives away. But so we'll just give it all when the time comes. But it's all going to help people.
Your daughter, Susie, says you call yourself a geriatric gypsy.
That's right.
What is that?
That means, honey, I don't stay in one place very long. And I have these wonderful grandchildren, great-grandchildren, friends, and Warren I travel with. I am a geriatric gypsy. That's what I tell people. They say, what do you do? That's my answer.
A geriatric gypsy. You can go anywhere you want to go in the world.
Yes, I can.
In comfort.
Yes, I can.
You can see anything, buy anything, meet anybody.
But, Charlie, I like going to those -10 hotels in India with Alan, who I run the foundation with. It's horrible. But I like to go the place that's real. When I'm in Bhutan, you should have seen it there. I mean, I love that. But you know what? That doesn't mean anything important because I'm going and coming home. I don't live there.
Yeah.
It's not my life struggle. But when I am there, I don't want to be up here. I want to be just right there where people are, and people don't know me from anywhere.
You know what I think?
What?
I think you're as wise as he is smart.
Oh, Charlie, what a compliment. Thank you. Wow, I'll live on that the rest of my life.
Susan Buffett, our sympathy and love for Warren and her children. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.